You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. I thought I'd have a little fun with this last tip in this solo series before we get back to some other people's great sales tips. I still think where you are matters. Sure, things are more and more remote, and even before the pandemic, I've worked from home since 2011, so over a decade. But being in Austin has been really, really valuable. And all the reasons that caused me to come to Austin from Southern California in the first place in 2004 are still in place today. In fact, some of them are exponentially more impactful. The first thing I love about Austin is the culture. Austin has one of the most welcoming, help each other out mindsets I've ever seen. Sure, there are those who don't want to see the city grow anymore, but they're in the minority, and most of us had such an incredible experience coming here that there's a strong desire to pay that forward and to welcome the next generation of new Austenites. It's a super innovative city. There's a lot of young energy that partially comes from the local universities, of which there are many. There are over 50,000 students learning on the 40 acres that make up the University of Texas in the center of town. Less than 30 minutes south of Austin is Texas State University and the home to another 38,000 students. Austin Community College has over 40,000 enrolled, and those are just the big ones. The entrepreneurial scene was a big draw for me when I came here originally and has gotten so much bigger since. I can't begin to articulate the value of this space the way Josh Baer has in his Texas Startup Manifesto that I'll have a link to at DailySales.Tips/1044. I'll also include a link to his piece about Austin's secret sauce. It's pretty solid as well, but I think the real proof is just how much big tech and other companies are investing here. Just this week, Samsung announced that they would be investing $17 billion in a 2.3 million square foot chip factory just 30 minutes northeast of town in Taylor. Tesla's 4.2 million square foot gigafactory should be coming online later this year. Oracle moved their headquarters here. Apple has over 6,000 employees in the area, and their campus has the capacity to grow to 15,000 employees. IBM has about the same number of local employees. Google just moved into a beautiful new 35-story building downtown. Amazon and Facebook both have a significant presence. And that's in addition to some pretty amazing homegrown companies. Dell is probably the most famous of those, but there's Whole Foods, Indeed, VRBO, Yeti, Bazaarvoice, Bumble, and plenty more. Bottom line, plenty of amazing companies to sell to and lots to sell for. And if anything, the growth seems to be accelerating, as the secret is definitely out at this point. Plus, I'm a pretty big fan of not having to pay state income tax. And the very best part of all, you don't have to travel for the Sales Success Summit or the Sales Tech Expo. Seriously though, given that you probably have more of a geographic choice than ever before, it's worth considering. And I continue to be a raving fan of this great city. Just something to think about. Thanks for listening.